You live. We back. SUC in the building. What's happening, man? We got your host,
Hey,
Ratchet
all I
Craig.
all I know is he ran in the I even he was running into every rebuttal point that I was bringing up before I could bring it up in every I'm like he set himself up. Like if I didn't have no mic issue, oh man, say man, dude was watched, man. Real talk. He was out of it. But it was
Hey,
fun.
we
I ain't gonna lie.
live, we live now, King Self. You know what I'm saying? Let Joshua introduce this show, bro. Let him introduce the show, man. The after show. Go ahead, Joshua.
I'll be right
I guess not.
I'll be right back. I
Yeah,
gotta
but
leave.
anyway, this is the after show of the Source Debate League. We just had a great event that just went down between King Self and Zion Warchild. Great debate, and I'd like to give props out to Joshua first, right? Because he absolutely did a great job between the technical difficulties that both parties went through. Boy, King Self, though, I'm gonna put it like that, but King Self had the info, right? At the end of the day, the info win with it at the end of the day, right? But check this out. We got King Self who came back on this line. He left out. Anyway, I guess this is the Ratchet Craig show. Shit. But anyway, how I looked at this thing, right, is I see that King Self, uh, he would have the difficulties, right? But I kind of would read between the lines, and he was in and out, right? Uh, War Child had a great coming out. He had a great coming out. Like, how King Self go get through that? But King Self came with his. He had the technical difficulties up front. But King Self had some questions that he could get around. And I started thinking like he was kind of when it came to Zion, he was on the genetics too much. Like they don't display you made everybody kid to Solomon. Even though Solomon had all them children, I would have played your motherfucking ass, King Self. Nigga, Solomon had 300 women pregnant. Yeah, I would have played your ass. But it was his wives though, but yeah, I would have played it. All his children, right? So, but he would have had to make the whole Middle East, the white boys, the Arab white boys, the French, everybody would have been fucking Jewish in lineage of Solomon. So they didn't quite just work out their way to me. But you back on here, educate yourself. You back in the game, right? Yeah, but you know that's how I looked at it. Till one of you brothers get back in, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep on going.
Yeah.
Yo, Heritage TV in this joint. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Genesis 49er. Subscribe to NYMG. Y'all World 777. Subscribe to what else? The Source Debate League. We
Hey,
need to
can
get them
y'all hear
things
me?
up. Yeah, I hear you, Joshua. Ed Kingston. I hear y'all now. I was just going in. I was just trying to get Joshua to come in, but I was trying to finish off what I was saying before he come in and direct the show, though. Yeah. Scholastic Bullet, come in, bro. Can we? Yeah, there you go. You
Yo,
in the house?
I'm trying to get Zion in here. He having some difficulties. Oh, there you go. That's what I was doing, trying to get the brother in here. Like I said at the end of the debate, I felt like uh Zion should have been more direct with his information and gave us a genealogy connecting Solomon directly to Haile Selassie. Like, we just lost the brother. And
Yeah. He went into the populations and stuff like that too much, right? Like who is all in this area? Like he did what we call that topography. He did
yeah,
topography too much in his places. Like you made everybody a Hebrew really in the area.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah, you
mean,
know, everybody's a kid to Solomon in that area, according to that, because he had all them children, right? He had all them children according to the biblical narrative. He had more than just. He had like got over 300 women pregnant. What was the biblical narrative?
he had a whole bunch of wives, concubines, 1,000 concubines, and all type of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody in the Middle East right now is the kid to Solomon, according to the biblical narrative.
Well, but here's the problem. Even if he was right about his assertion about the L3 thing and making all those people Israelites, the debate is not are the Ethiopians Israelites. The debate is does Haile Selassie
Yeah,
descend from Solomon? So that how do you? I didn't see him connect the
From
dots.
King Solomon. Real talk.
And the brothers
Me
right here.
neither.
yeah. He right here. One time, but I did love your information, and you just didn't make that connection for me. I love your information. You was a great
I know I
debater
made the
and
connection.
presenter.
Hey, I know I made the connection that he wasn't. I know I made that very clear.
I
It
mean,
wasn't very clear, nigga. You had technical difficulties, nigga.
Well, you right. It was some clear.
Yeah. But it wasn't very clear.
you
But
know,
I heard it.
Zion.
And the question in the end, right? You kind of you smoothed out a little bit at the end, so I understood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, King Self had actually. See, I'm mad because his second round wasn't clear, but I believe that was his best round. You understand? He actually read from the Kira Nagas, which is the whole where they get the whole claim that Haile Selassie came from Solomon, and he actually broke down the other. What was the other one?
What is the Charisma Das? What is that?
That's the Ethiopian writing they got that come back from like the 12th century, 13th century.
So who it came
14
from the
cents.
Arab? Who did it come from? The
The
Arabs?
Ethiopian,
Nah,
the Ethiopian people.
medieval times.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came later on. Yeah, we all had a oral tradition sometimes. When it be that long, it's not that good, right?
No, but I don't think you guys got to hear what was in there. Y'all should have heard what he read.
What do you mean? Break it down for me.
Okay.
King,
Okay.
make sure he represents you right.
King Self. Yeah, if you want to bring it out
All right,
again.
go ahead.
It's just silly. Let me just say this.
What happened was Solomon, she spent the night at Solomon Palace, right? And Solomon made an oath. He said he wouldn't touch her long as she don't steal nothing from him. So what she did was he put a bowl of water in the middle of the room. And at night she got up and got thirsty and drank the water. And that nigga jumped out from like behind a corner or something and was, aha, I got you. You drinking water. And then the queen said, okay, well, since I stole something from you by drinking the water, you can sleep with me. This is the Nebraska cat. This is what they say happened. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah.
Come on, this nigga. Mr. Craig, what he doing? Woman, he just standing behind her. And then he set her up. He put the bowl of water in the middle of the floor.
So that was the first official literary account of the so-called queen, the Sheba, right? It ain't Candace. Like Candace and Sheba is different to me, right? And this is another thing.
Because it wasn't just one Candace. It was three Candace, like how the Pope got Alexander the First, second, third. Now them mother.
Yeah. Like Pharaoh. Well,
It was a Candace.
Yeah, Pharaoh mean like Candace being queen. I get you.
Yeah, that's what it was. So when they keep saying That's why I posed the question, who is this queen of the Kushites they keep saying? Because it's a queen over here, queen over here, queen over there, queen over here. It all can't be the same queen. So I put it, then I answered it. I said, who is the queen? And that's when I showed the woman, the black lady with the spear. It was the Candace of Moreau. Where were they from? They were from the Sudan. They were from Southern Arabia.
Yeah,
They wasn't from Ethiopia. They were from Kush. Sudan.
Yeah, doing that right, it's very documented, very good, right? Outside the biblical narrative, during that era, like Kush was on top of their game. That is the most Kush. That where all the pyramids were built. Like so much evidence on that time, and they never mentioned these things that kind of like the Christian Coptic area talk about.
And then what's this? At the time these places was rich and flourishing, the type of money that she rent, these places didn't even have none of that yet. So they couldn't have been talking about none of these places that he talking about Saba, none of that. They couldn't have been talking about none of that. Because they wasn't rich until they didn't rich until the 8th century.
Yeah, the Arabs came
That
in.
was
The Arabs,
Solomon
during
and
the Arab
Chronicles
time.
and written before.
The Arabs came
said
in.
what? You broke up.
Islam came in. When Islam came in, that when they got the popping in that Yemen area. In that Yemen area. Yeah, go ahead, G. Go ahead, Azar. It's your go. You go get it in. Now, you gotta admit, brother. You gotta admit, Zara. But I enjoy your presentation, though, brother. I loved it. You still muted, though, Zara. Scholastic, you don't hear, do you? Or it might be me. Hey, I still don't hear you, Zara. You might have to go back in and come back out. I promise you, I don't hear you.
Yeah, man. I think if he would have came with a more direct approach, he would have had more material to fight with. I think.
Yeah. I'd have played King Self a whole other way. I'd have did this motherfucking ass. Fuck that. I'd have did King Self ass in. I'd did him in. Nigga, I'd have had a whole other approach on his ass. But I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I like some of the information he brought, but I think he lagged it on that generic too long. That was his flaw right there. He made everybody in the Middle East fucking kid to Solomon with it to me. Like these folks had their own culture, their whole cultural belief.
I mean,
can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you can hear you.
All right. So here's the problem, man. Okay, he keeps running with the same. He keeps running the same ball. You know what I mean? And he can run with the same ball and try to keep passing the goal post when the goal post was already well established, and he out of bounds right now. Okay, so basically, when I said he keeps on talking about Sudan, keeps on talking about the separation between Sudan. At that time, that separation did not exist. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. The map, he shows the Sudan map of what's considered Kush, and it only shows the area of Sudan as it exists today. That's how I know it's already getting correct. Because those borders were quite different back in antiquity.
Yeah.
Those borders what was considered Ethiopia. He already stated that Ethiopia in itself was just a broad terminology for people of dark skin. However, the Greeks were specific on the land area, and that encompassed that whole area called the Horn of Africa. I showed you that. I showed you it again. I'll show you it again if I have to. You know what I'm saying? The whole entire Horn of Africa, even up to Sudan, was considered the Kushite Empire. However, what did the Greeks call them? here's another story. Here's another thing you might not know that the Greeks considered the Ethiopian people of that region, of that specific region, beneath the Blue Nile. They're very specific, and this is even in the Bible when it talks about Havilah and the rivers that encompass the whole land of Israel. That the Greeks considered the people of that land. They called them the gods, and there was many stories that were written about them. Even the Queen Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia is another queen that comes from where he wants to call Sabia, but is really Seba and Sheba. Sabia is the same people. It's the same genetic phenotype. Now, when you keep on getting back on that whole mother genealogy, understand that the mother genealogy is going back to the mitochondrial DNA that goes all the way back to Lucy Dinkinesh, who was found at the bottom of the base of the Blue Nile in Ethiopia and still resides in Ethiopia to this day. The genetic bloodlines you're talking about that connect to Solomon. How does it connect directly to Solomon? I'm establishing that, one, you cannot state that the Israelite people were not prevalent and engaged with the Ethiopian continent, not just Sudan, but what we call Ethiopia today. Secondly, I established the Tin Cat ceremony going back, and that Yakunu Amlak only reestablished the kingdom that was started at around 800 the 800th century BCE, which would only be within like 40 or 50 years from the time that Solomon was said to have been deceased. Okay, so the end of the Solomonic dynasty, or the end and the destruction of the temple, the Solomonic temple, is in the timeline of the first claims of the earliest Solomonic dynasty. Yakunu Amlak only reestablished it after the Zagwes had conquered. No different than the Babylonians conquering Israel. No different than the Romans conquering Israel. No different than the Egyptians conquering the Israelites.
So you're saying that, hold on. You said that the people who got conquered is the ruler? Is the ruler like on genealogy?
They came back.
Usually what happened is
Amlak came back and refought the war again. Almost 300 years later, he comes back and he conquers in the name of his blood lineage that existed prior to the Zagwe dynasty. This is not rocket science. People do this all the time.
I understand that, brother. I just try to get a clarification. So yeah. So you're saying right that okay, I'm gonna put it like this. I want to ask kind of another question, right? Because you use the genetics, right? And when you use genetics, right, do you consider J haplogroup the part of the Hebrew lineage, right? Or the biblical lineage?
All right, so from my knowledge, and I'm not super genetic freaking science man, right? However, but the J haplogroups are what I've been researching, and some of the things that I've been witnessing people discussing even in these groups, because I've been learning a lot from a lot of the brothers. The J haplogroup has to do with a lot of the Ashkenazi and the so-called Jewish bloodlines. Now, there are J haplogroups that exist in Ethiopia and in Sudan and in Yemen, and these are stated to be the haplogroups or the Israelites that were dealing with the expulsion after the second destruction of the temple, and even after the Maccabees in those time periods after the first century. So we understand that there were white folks in Israel closer to the first century than a lot of people want to even deal with. Not everybody who claimed to be an Israelite at the time had dark skin, but what I'm saying, it was only what we call certain haplogroups that were related specifically to the blood lineages of who they claim to be the patriarchs and the prophets. Nazarites,
and I agree
Levite
on that, brother.
priesthoods. Huh?
And I agree on that, Ray, brother. But what I'm saying is, right? Because you kind of made a little statement, and this
Right.
outside, most people won't catch it, right? This is something
Right.
I caught.
Right.
You said, man, these are J haplogroups. You kind of shitted on the J haplogroups, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they what Negroes and shit like that. I don't know if you think they white boys or what. I don't know, right?
No, see, I don't know how to. I don't even really see. Like I said, I'm not super genetic science man.
Okay, I got you. I ain't gonna hold you up to this scrutiny.
That's why I look specifically for the haplogroups dealing specifically with the Yemeni, the Sudanese, the Saudi Arabian, and the Israelites.
That was the point I was going there, right? That was the point I was going there. I was going to Yemen connection, right? Yemen are J people, bro. They are J people.
Yeah, well, some of them do. Some
they is extraordinary J people.
Not all
they were very isolated.
Not all Yemeni people have the same haplogroups. Okay,
no, I'm just saying the Yemen people that is very closely to the bodies that they found genetically on the maternal and the paternal side, and when they found those species, they are kind of like J people, bro.
Right, because you got an admixture. You have an admixture going on there from
of course, I agree.
Yeah. So here's the deal. There are still Yemeni tribes that are isolated and they do not mix with the Arab or the
They're like the Beta Israel. The Beta Israel, you could do that too.
But they're Israelites. That's the craziest part.
They have a J marker too. They have a J marker too.
Do they? But that's probably because of the European influences, Ashkenazis and stuff coming in to those regions later on.
They got trapped up a long time ago. They just came out of the exposure recently, like in the 1900s, maybe 1800s, right? They came out very recently. Them folk were very seclusive. That's why they celebrated so much in Ethiopia. Yeah. Because they were seclusive for a long time. They didn't know nothing about Torah, but they were keeping a lot of Torah traditions, right?
Right.
Yeah, they was like, how do you folks, they got a continuous culture, and they was isolated. They would make the Beta Israel so popular, not based on their genetics, based on their culture passing down. That would make them so great. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so check this out. I don't know.
Hey, let me add this to the pot, okay? Because you all left out a little bit of some etymology that could have been used, especially for your corner. When the agu, that actually means cousin,
right?
Okay, and the shua, what actually is shua, as in savior. So the name still has a Shemitic. The name is a Shemitic background. So
it's Shemitic, right?
I argue that the Ge'ez is a Semitic language, that the Amhars and specific tribes that are the major or what you call the majority population, the people in power in Ethiopia are Semitic people. They speak a Semitic language. Ge'ez is Semitic.
Right.
So I've always established that the Ge'ez and the connections with the Hebrew, and how the Ge'ez is a dialect that has etymology in the Hebrew dialect and the enunciation of specific words, although it does have some sub-Saharan influences.
Yeah, but he was trying to pull out the point that because of SHEWA, but it's pronounced Shua. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's something that you could have got.
But check this out though. Let's be real, right? I'm gonna go to break down that language argument. I don't like that argument because that came down the Egyptian line, the Sudan, right?
I was gonna build on that too.
That ain't part of the Semitic line, right?
Wait. Egypt is considered Semitic.
They're not committed. They're not considered Semitic. They're like a super group, Asiatic,
So
Afro-Asiatic. They're a super group. Like when you get down to the Pacific language, like Egyptian, because you got to understand a super group, even in groups like you have French and English, right? When we speak, we don't understand each other, right? Then when you become a language, when you would understand, dialects differ, right? Like you got to look at the dialects. The dialects differ from a language. A language would be like a dialect is like me being from the south, right? Y'all probably be from the north. We can still understand each other. You might say, "Huh, this motherfucker got a southern dialect."
See, that's the same
But,
thing in Africa.
But when you create a language, that means you don't understand each other at all.
That's the same thing that's in Africa, but see, they keep trying to make us think that these people don't talk to each other and don't deal with each other, which is the white man have us thinking
No.
that.
Do you understand what I'm saying? The difference between a language and a dialect, right?
But
it's different.
It still has a Shemitic. Egypt still has a Shemitic in it. Okay, although all the
I say that is a family group, right? But it is not a super family group, right?
Right.
But it's not considered a language. I'm talking about cultural language, right? I'm not take the white man out of this.
Yeah.
Take the white man out of this. The white people who are French and English, right? They can't understand each other. That's all I'm saying. And you have when you have the Coptic language, right? The Kushite language, or Coptic, and you have these people who speaking these Ge'ez. I don't know if Ge'ez was a spoken language or in a written language also, but you had these people who speaking these, that don't mean that they understood each other, right? You know what I'm saying? Just because you can't understand. A person that speaks Spanish, there's another Indo-European
everybody
language.
in Africa understood each other. They may not have understood 100%.
They understood each other. I understand, brother. No, that's too ambiguous, bro. That's too ambiguous.
Brother, everybody in Africa understood each other. It was only a dialect difference. So they had different dialects.
So you say everybody that spoke Niger Congo understood Egyptian language?
They would have similarities.
And they understood Berber.
What I'm saying is that they would have similarities in the tongue. They may not understand 100% everything you say, but they can make out a lot. They'll have similar words. Okay.
So you thinking they just sit down? We talk about ancient people, bro. They just sit down trying to understand each other. Like, what the fuck you saying, nigga?
Right.
Okay. All right. I think they kind of romanticize it a little bit.
Come on, brother. All the movies we watch that they show, even when aliens come to the planet, do people sit down and talk to the aliens and they show them how they communicate?
The aliens, I don't understand why the aliens would come down here and try to talk to motherfuckers. If I come down this far, I'm gonna conquer your ass.
I'm just using that as an example. That's just an example. So it's the same thing because you have similar words in all those languages. So the words that we can agree on when we're talking, we're gonna agree with those words and use those particular words when we're talking to outside.
Hey, bro, I'm putting like this. I got articles, right? And they say, well, one of the wrong things is based about the dialects, right? They divide people in Africa, right? Just dialects.
Right.
And that start a whole other tribe, just dialects, and they war with each other based on dialects or languages, bro, in differences.
That's no different than when we have slang here, when kids come up with different words to say that they parents don't.
You're not hearing me. These boys have really traditional wars, bro. Like, I'm not gonna have no fucking war against you because you speak a northern dialect and I speak a southern dialect, bro.
But yeah, they would do that though. They would do that.
It might be more of a resource style with me, but I'm saying that's how petty Africa is right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they can understand each other. These two people that can understand each other. We talk about this is dialect. Just understand a whole nother language. That is like a whole nother people, bro.
But that's the way that
in that area, they would learn each other's languages.
Yeah.
They didn't. People were normally bilingual.
Some did. And some people conquered them and made you learn their language. It's like I understand the whole talking part. But what I'm saying is that's the difference between people just language alone, bro. You had a person that spoke a whole other, he spent Coptic, there's some other Egyptian, and then you had another person that spent Semitic, right? Up under, there's a whole other, there's a world in language, bro. There's a world of differences, bro.
But all I'm saying is that the way that the European have us thinking is that if I live in Nigeria, I can't understand what people in Ethiopia.
I'm not saying that country. You might could find something that showed that they got along, right? I'm just saying the difference between the languages. I'm not trying to provoke the white man. I'm not trying to make him a god. I understand perfectly clear without him.
Right. I'm just saying.
I'm not trying to make him a god.
All I'm saying is that that's the impression that they would have us to think that is taking place on the continent, that just because I live in a different part of the continent, I can't understand someone who lives in another part of the continent. That's all I'm saying. And because
I'm not saying that people can't make treaties amongst tribes, bro, but you got to be real, bro. These folks are fighting on the continent right now to this day.
Right.
I mean, and it's over the other thing. I'm just saying, this was even before the white man even got there. This is how we got over here, because we was already fighting through the Arabs, right? So it's just something that be going on through the continent. I don't have no problem with it. It is what it is, me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know we ain't gonna be no one group. If a nigga think we're gonna be a one group, I go with like minds. So, you know, that's what I go with. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that like when we do this scholarship, we got to understand with the kind of language. Don't think that we were one homogenous group. Like the Egyptian, what do Nama did? He had to do the Sudan and he had to conquer them, bro, to make one fucking Egyptians, bro, to start the first dynasty.
You know what would have made, if Zion topic would have been, are the Ethiopians Israelites? His information would have backed those claims. He would have been able to have an argument there.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like all his rounds was catered to Ethiopians. Yeah. It wasn't King Solomon having an
see, that was supposed to establish the probability of the claims of the Ethiopian Solomonic dynasty. If Israel is that familiar and related, and the scriptures always refer to it, then you cannot necessarily deny it.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, it's going to be unfalsifiable. Because now we can't say, what you're saying is we can't deny it or prove it. The direct.
And now nobody even read.
I established what they call the preponderance of evidence.
Don't nobody even read Haile Selassie today. Like they don't even acknowledge him like this.
I gave you the preponderance of evidence that the traditions that exist there are the evidence, the genealogy and the genetics and the history and the biblical accounts and the geography are all the evidence that these stories and these allegories have actual relevance. That Solomon is a person that existed under a different name. Probably didn't have all of the magical things that were spoken of in that story, but the people existed, and the Ethiopian bloodline has claim to the Ark of Covenant and to the genetic bloodline of the Israelite kings, the royal bloodline. That's it.
And I'm saying right now, right, to this day right now, they don't even claim Haile Selassie, like, people off the continent, right? Right now, they're having a war right now based on Haile Selassie. The Eritrean war and the Ethiopian war, right? They're just trying to get a division because, you know the picture that we seen in the 80s and shit. I don't know if some of y'all old enough, with the Ethiopians starving and shit. That was a part of his range that happened. That's what made them put them out.
But you have to know what happened. What happened was prior to the Italian War, okay?
No, the Italian War was
Mussolini
in the
and them,
1940s,
they
though,
dropped-
bro. This was in like in the
they dropped
1970s, 80s.
They dropped mustard gas. They dropped mustard gas on Ethiopia, which burned up the soil, and it wasn't able to turn over and
The
grow
whole
anything
soil
for
of
years. That's where the
Ethiopia, that big
famine
ass
came from.
Ethiopia, mustard gas, it just deteriorated the whole soil. Even
Yeah, destroyed everything.
nah, that's
Yes.
an
Yo,
extraordinary claim, bro. And they weren't even
listen, go
in
ahead and do
functional
this.
areas,
Listen,
bro.
bro, I got, all right.
Nah,
So,
I'm just saying they did not drop
the
no
mustard
mustard gas
gas.
in their whole area like that, bro. They like say they nuked
Yes,
the
they did.
motherfucker.
No, yo,
Mustard
they
gas is not a
they
nuclear
spread it
bomb,
all.
bro.
No, they
It's
spread
not a
it.
nuclear
They spread it
bomb.
all over, bro. They spread it all over. All of the rural areas where most of the tribes existed, the
But they
fighting
had
tribes,
good
the
crop.
rebels,
Hey,
they
bro,
spread
but for
mustard
real
gas,
though,
and
bro.
that's what destroyed the land, man.
Hey, on the scientific
topsoil.
tip, though, bro. What happened is the Earth, it do its thing, right? It just had a climate change that fucked up that area, right? It was just Earth doing this thing. But I understand the superstition part gonna say this is X, Y, and Z, right? It was just that Haile Selassie didn't respond to it right. And he was trying to do his political career. And he spent like fucking like millions of dollars on his birthday, bro, instead of putting back in the economics at the time. That's kind of the backdrop on that political story.
I have a whole entirely different perception of what happened with that situation.
Zion, when will we see you do another debate? Because I'm like I said, I'm listening to you. Yeah, I'm listening to you, and you sound like you're very knowledgeable. I just hope next time your PowerPoint is together, where you can present it the proper way, and the judges can be able to actually see your sources. But from listening to you, you sound like you're very, very, very intelligent young man. And I enjoy listening to you speak. You're very, like I said, you're very well run.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, no, don't get it wrong. Me and him might be right now at disagreement on the story of Haile Selassie, right? But this brother, I give him a step. He is the truth. I ain't gonna lie. He got good information. I just, when it comes to how you organize it sometimes, there be the problem sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, but this information is on point. His information is on point.
I didn't bring some of the other information because I had to redirect my argument toward, Brother King Seth's argument, because I started first, so I wanted to establish my opening argument, and have him return and rebut. King Seth made some points, so I had to redirect myself. So sometimes in an argument, you have to try to,
Now you kind of, go off the cuff, brother. I ain't gonna never take that away from you. That's why I'm over here with you. If you was a bullshit, I wouldn't even be on here with you. I promise you that. And you the bona fide truth, bro. I ain't gonna lie. And that's why I give an olive branch out to that. Like, I know when to stop, right? I know when to stop. Like, this nigga the truth. I know when to stop. I'm just kind of, if I just debate, I was just saying some things. But the things I was bringing up was outside the debate, right? This is my own.
Right.
Yeah, my own inquisitive, right? That's all.
Right.
Yeah. You the truth, though. I'm not going to stop you for that.
I appreciate it. King Seth did a very good job today. I like his argument. A couple of points was I thought a couple of points was a couple of haymakers, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Other than that,
Hey, y'all
Other than
don't
that,
visit
he was
each other
doing very.
again, though. Y'all should visit
He
each
was
other
dropping
again.
very good sharp jabs. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
I
Very good, very
gotta
good.
push back on you on some information I've been checking out about Eritrea. It was known.
Okay.
It gets its name from King Ethris, and if you remember
Right.
the sea, the Indian Ocean was called Erythraean Sea, named after Ethris. So it
Right.
was known of that name for a long time. This is recorded in Pliny's Natural History, 756, where it's talking. So
Right.
it is definitely a pushback against what you were saying, that Eritrea didn't exist in ancient time, or it wasn't known as Eritrea. But it was.
No, all right. So the people existed, but they were still considered a part of Ethiopia, and they wanted to create their own state, their own national area. It's the area that they existed in already, but Ethiopia had the claims on that land. It's just like the same thing with what was it? Tibet. Tibet trying to separate itself from China. China pushed back. Tibet tried to separate. China didn't want them to separate. Same thing with Ethiopia, with the Marxist government. They did not want to separate Eritrea. Within the last 20 years, or with I think 30 years, Eritrea has become its own state only due to the support of like the United Nations and stuff like that. So Eritrea is its own country now, but it was never its own country.
Right. Here's a good example. Tri-state area. That's a good example of what you're talking about. Tri-state area.
Right. So the people that live there, they still are considered a part of Ethiopia. They wanted their separation. They wanted their own identity, their own land, their own nationality.
Yeah, it's how you have states and all nationalities. It's gonna get muddy like a bug, and I understand it. Like people
That's
like,
what it is, though.
I ain't getting treated
we
fair.
want that too.
I ain't getting treated fair.
That means like it's plausible to say that we want our own state as African Americans,
right?
And be able to achieve
it's
that.
Gonna get muddy. Yeah, it's gonna get muddy. It's gonna get muddy. I agree with that part.
The Eritreans did that.
Yeah.
If you look at them as a people,
they did that, and there was other politics behind it.
You cannot tell a difference. You cannot tell a difference between Eritreans and Ethiopians and Sudanese or Somali. Somali a little bit.
Hey, I disagree with you on that one. That's the part I don't. You can tell the difference.
What?
You can, bro. I can display that. I can display that. That's easy. But I'm talking about phenotypical.
Same region.
Phenotypical, I could, like people who've been in there longer in the land, to people who got admixture, and I could give you the text that they consider people admixture, and I think they Ethiopian still, but that was according to the people of the text, right? Because I don't believe in that admixture too much, right?
Well, that whole area gets crazy
culturally.
Because even it was known as Nubia as well. So they had so many different names for so many areas. And then the names would repeat in other areas. Other locations.
No. It only became Nubia.
And also different time periods.
This is what I'm saying.
Different time periods as well.
Yeah, King Self brought out
different time periods.
King Self brought out this. It's only became Ethiopia once what's that? King Hizar. He took it for Kush when they invaded Kush.
But you had an Indo-Kush
invaded
Kush. Had an Iberian Kush. That's why I said these names repeat in other areas, geographic locations. So it's like crazy.
No, there was two whole Kush had this whole lineage, right? And it was through the Egyptians, right? You gotta understand when this guy became supporter Hitler through Constantine Banking, he went into Kush, and then one of the things he did was get the name Ethiopia out of that because it was in the Bible.
Yeah,
because
but
they was
but
because you
see,
gotta
because
understand
of our
they got Greek.
timeline is off,
Yeah, they
which
got
Kush
Greek.
are you
They got
talking
Greek.
about? Which
They
Kush are
got
you
Greek
talking about? There was
connotation.
at least 4 Kushes. So which one you talking about?
I'm talking about Northern Sudan, and we'll say
All right, but there was 4 Kushes. So which Kush are we talking about when we're speaking about the scriptures? This is the problem that we have when we try to stick to a particular 4,000 BC timeline for the Bible, which I think is totally off because of you got to look at genetics says that men have been around longer than that. Archaeology says men have been around longer than that. So, like I said,
Yo, so watch this. Yeah, and that's a great point. You know what I'm saying? Because I was gonna pull it all the way back, even though people might have argued that it was a fallacy argument or non sequitur. But going back to the Ethiopian bloodlines, going earlier back to the earliest forms of the Australopithecus, Lucy, all of these bloodlines
right,
that actually support some of the claims in, it's beyond 6,000 years or 7,000 years ago, like the Bible claims, but the Bible's claims of the Garden of Eden is in that area. It's in that region. Havilah is Ethiopia.
See, that's
Havilah is the whole river that encompasses that land. It also encompasses
thank you.
Sudan. It reaches up through Ethiopia, through Sudan into
And that's the
Egypt.
problem I have with everything. Always there. See, the European mindset is to move everything out of Africa. Okay, that's why I have a problem with everything that everybody trying to say everything started in the Levant. No, everything would have started in Africa first. People didn't get
That's
smart.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the original seed. So see, really, what my argument was even beyond the Solomonic claim being from Solomon, that the maternal gene, the mitochondrial DNA, actually predates Solomon. Solomon comes from so he's the root and the seed of David and Jesse.
Because even in the story of Moshe, the queen took the seat from Moshe to rule in the book of Jasher. It tells you that in the book of Jasher. And I understand that reading in the Cabinet of Rest that Candace killed her father to take the throne. So, I do.
So you see duality.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. The whole problem is when because we sometimes still try to hold to that 4,000 BC mindset is which I always see.
Right.
Even though all the genetics is telling you that that's incorrect, the archaeology is telling you that is incorrect, but we still try because I found documentation that says they was doing farming in Africa in 10,000 BC. But everybody try to say the Levant is 5,000 when they actually started. No, that's not true. That's not true.
Right.
They was doing farming in Africa first. They try to say that corn grew in America. No, they had corn in Africa. They found 5,000-year-old corn in Egypt. So what do you mean corn only grew in America? No, it didn't. As a matter of fact, it was a different species of corn that they grow in Africa than that they found in America.
Right,
so,
in North America.
It was still corn. Okay, so so the argument is, like I said, is with the fact that the timeline is just not what the biblical narrative, and that's a European mindset because genetically Europeans don't show up until about 4,000 BC in the genetic picture.
Right.
So that's them inserting themselves.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Trying to assert themselves. Yeah. Yep. But that's what John on the island of Patmos was talking about.
Yeah.
He was telling you what was up. That's why they put him on the island of Patmos.
And
it wasn't even like a prison. It was just like, you go to this island and you cannot leave.
It's funny that
we do not want to see you. If you leave out of here and we see you, you're dead. Go to this island and stay there.
It's funny you bring that up because the paintings of all the black people was in the cave where he would have been at. But if you go to the if you go inside the church, they got all the white paintings, you know. But if you go to the cave where he would have been,
and that's where I was going to show you the other part. When I talked about Yeshua being from that Flavius Josephus spoke about Jesus being from Ethiopia. This was connecting the Solomonic dynasty. Jesus is supposed to be from the line of King David and Solomon. But prior to the Nicene Council, the popular understanding was that Yeshua was at Ethiopia. Then there is a discussion amongst the Ethiopians that the time period that Mary was supposed to be running from Herod with the child, that she went to Egypt, but in that specific region, Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia, there was a travel and there was an exchange between the two. So she had spent a specific amount of time in Ethiopia while she was hiding from Herod for 4 years with Jesus.
And it also that the genetic piece, because they do have genetic results where they do show that the Ethiopians are not a Shemitic people. But like I said, you got to realize it's just like the Kaaba Negress says, only 12,000 princes left, not a whole country. That would have added the genetic admixture. So it depends on who you're testing, where that frequency is going to show up at. So
I agree.
Yo.
Yeah.
All right, man. Look, we gotta cut the bullshit. Okay. To make this extremely clear to you Negroes, understand this, man. Okay. Listen good. We're not going to substantiate the lineage, the biblical lineage, with heathen sources. Understand this. When I say heathen sources, there's an extreme difference, man. We have to cut it out, man. We got to cut it out. Goddamn. Brother. Let me finish, brother. You've been talking all night. Let me finish. Okay? Make this clear. Damn, inserting damn heathenistic practices, visions, and views and philosophies, and trying to superimpose that and merge that into the scriptures. This needs to come to an end. Okay? This is folly and madness, which cannot be substantiated using the scriptures. Okay? We can't, brother, let me finish. We cannot start to try to merge lineages, okay? Because brothers took wives. Let me make this clear. Even in America right now today, when a man marries a woman, that woman becomes his wife. That wife takes on his name. And the children that are born from that union belongs to him. They fall under his name, just like the woman falls under his name. The father is the progenitor of the household. That's according to scripture. So we don't get to come in 2020 talking about what some damn heathen Jews is doing and their practices, and then superimpose that upon the Bible when that's nowhere in the Bible.
Facts.
Okay? So we have to cut it out, man. Then we sitting there talking about using these damn sources, letting damn heathens philosophize over the Bible, the Torah and the Tanakh. Oh, well, you know, damn Da Vinci Code speculations, right? Da Vinci Code speculations, and then trying to bring that to the community as if it's actual and factual. This is nothing more than heathenistic conjecture, right? Heathenistic speculation, right? And this is the absolute epitome of what pseudoism is. Okay? We have to cut it out, man. And we have to start to understand. The people want to know, where do we start for valid sources? What can we look to and say, this is a valid source? The Bible lets you know where to start from, okay? It lets you know you have to start with the people in whom the book was written by, okay? And then there's other vetting processes that you can utilize based upon, according to scripture now, because see, a lot of you Negroes don't believe in the Bible, okay? So if we're looking at the Bible, there are outlines of what we can hold to and what we can't based upon the actions of the person delivering the information.
Bullshit.
Say again?
Oh, my bad. I didn't know I was on.
Yeah. So I want you to respond to some of the things I've said, brother. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right. First and foremost, where I believe you're in error is the suspicion or the presumption that the Bible does not justify these claims of the Ethiopian and the Amharic bloodline being a Solomonic bloodline. That's where you have maybe not really looked at the scriptures. Now, when it comes to the maternal, yeah, you talked about the Old Testament and such, dealing specifically with the father's bloodline, and that is true. It does specifically deal with the father's bloodline. However, DNA and science, as we develop, what was hidden from the wise and the prudent shall be revealed to the babe and the suckling. That means that our generations would be given unto more knowledge of certain things. So now we have an understanding of DNA. We have an understanding of science. We have a greater understanding of how the earth moves and such. So, I mean, I don't know if you're a flat earther or not, but if you do not believe in a flat earth, then you know that the earth, that certain scriptures are subject to scrutiny. Now, when it comes to the Ethiopian bloodline, it is written within the scriptures. Sheba, Havilah, Dedan, right? Midian, Moses, Zipporah, Abraham, Keturah. Beth Sheba means house of Sheba. Sheba is not Sabah. Sheba is not Sabah. Sheba is also a blood lineage in Ethiopia. This is biblical accounts. This is Bible scripture. Okay? Then the Midianites, that the wives that were taken after the slaughter of the Midianites in Deuteronomy, if I'm not mistaken, they were slaughtered in warfare, and 3,000 some virgin women were taken as wives unto the Israelite tribes. Okay? Now, regardless of whether you want to just rely specifically on the father's genealogy for religious doctrine's sake, does not deny the mitochondrial DNA evidence that proves another genealogical. Okay, so if we're dealing with truth, we're dealing with truth. We're not just going to be like, well, I'm not going to look at the mothers because her DNA don't matter. I'm still going to study the mom's DNA.
First of all,
if I'm going to study DNA, if I'm going to study DNA, I'm going to study all of it. I'm not going to just be specific and be, well, he's a Jew because his dad is a Jew. But what about his mom's mitochondrial DNA? What about his father's mother's mitochondrial DNA? Okay? Now, if you subscribe to the New Testament and then you turn around and believe that Jesus Christ is not the son of Joseph, that he is the son of Mary.
Hold up, brother. Hold up.
Also, hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying. I'm gonna put a period on it, bro. I'm just saying if you subscribe to that, then you are also subscribing to a matriarchal genetic blood type.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that, sir. So now let's make this clear.
So, and I'll leave it right
all
there,
right.
brother. You can
all right,
respond.
thank you. So let me make this clear. All right. You cannot generalize DNA and say as if a person, this don't have nothing to do with DNA. Nothing. This doesn't have anything to do with DNA. This has everything to do with a person's identification marker. Okay? In regards to households and tribal lineages that are connected to inheritance. This is what this is talking about. You can't, nobody is saying if a person got an Egyptian mother, all right, and he goes over to his Egyptian mother's family's house and he's associate with his cousins and they're playing and stuff. Nobody is saying that those people are not his cousins. This don't have nothing to do with that. This has everything to do with inheritance and an identity, meaning that the household is identified by the father. That's a fact even today in 2020. The household, if I say I'm going to the house of the Thompsons and the mother has a maiden name, can I address her by the name that she's taken because she's married a man? Guess what? She's no longer identified by that maiden name. Okay? Does that mean that she don't have family members that was her brothers and cousins and sisters that was on her side of the family? No, this don't have nothing to do with that. So we're trying to identify tribal lineages. That's what we're dealing with. So the question is, how do we identify these tribal lineages? How do we identify a household? Well, the mother's last name is Jones and the father's last name is Johnson. So what is the household identified as? Is there confusion? Brother, let me finish, bro. Is the first child named Jones and then the second child named Johnson? Is that how a household is ran? Hell no. That's confusion. Understand this. So again, now we're looking in as we expand from a small net household to now a damn family reunion. This is the family reunion of the Johnsons. Okay, everybody in the Johnsons family reunion have some daughters are born and they have husbands and they got married, and yet the Johnsons is their family, but yet their last name is no longer Johnson. You understand? So this is not changing any of that relationship. So for somebody to try to superimpose that and make that an issue, it's not an issue. What we need to do is now, as things are being passed down as far as descendancy and inheritance is being passed down, how do you identify that inheritance? Brother
Zion, can I ask one quick question?
Yeah, I'm gonna answer him and then I'm gonna answer you. Go ahead.
It has to do with it. What's the Y haplogroup of those people?
The Y haplogroup. Hold on, let me see. Let's go back here.
Hey, that's why I said you gotta superimpose that genetics, man. That's why I like that argument too much.
Yeah,
just a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, it's a generalization that causes confusion.
Yeah, that was like you made everybody in Ethiopia.
No.
Everybody in the Middle East.
Specifically speaking, I was specifically speaking toward three different specific tribes that had specific haplogroups that were related to the Ethiopian blood lineages and the Hebrew blood lineages, and even that there were separate Hebrew blood lineages. Beta Israel claims, and their genetics goes back to a different time period when there was expulsions. Now, the scriptures state specifically that the people would be scattered abroad. The diasporatic Ethiopians They consider Beta Israel the diasporatic Israelites. Okay. Now, when the brother keeps talking about the father's bloodline, understand that Haile Selassie's father is Ras Makanen. While Ras Makanen's mother's bloodline, he's through his mother's bloodline. Also, his father is still an Amhar. Okay, Haile Selassie's mother is an Amhar. They're not different tribe of people. They're of the same tribe. Only thing is, the king was supposed to be Lij Yasu because Lij Yasu came from Menelik II. He was his first son. Lij Yasu became a Muslim, and Haile Selassie had to slay him with his bare hands. And then Haile Selassie wasn't even given the throne after that, after killing his own first cousin, quite the same as Saul was supposed to be killed, like from David's hand. Okay, because only a Solomonic king or ruler of the rulership or the royal bloodline is supposed to kill someone of the royal bloodline.
That ain't true at all. That ain't true at all.
Wait, we knew this. Wait, hold on. Let me explain why it's true. Can I explain why it's true?
Let me ask you, before you explain that,
Yeah, I want to hear it. I want to hear that.
Listen.
What is
I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you like
what is the
DMX.
Solomonic bloodline? What is that?
So you got the Solomonic bloodline. You got the bloodline that exists from Jesse, right? This is the bloodline of the Judaic royal throne, the Judaic royal household.
So the reason why I asked the
household.
question is because there is no such thing of Solomonic bloodline.
Right.
One bloodline.
Wait, hold on. All right, so understand this. That the biblical character that is called Solomon,
He's from a blood. He has a bloodline already. He's not an original man, Bayan, so he can't have his own bloodline.
Wait, hold on.
He comes from a man, Bayan, so he has his father's DNA, Bayan.
There is a bloodline. So you're saying that
I'm just saying,
Zion,
what did I just say? If you actually stop talking, when you ask a question and listen, you can understand what someone's saying, right? So again, Solomon is not a progenitor of nothing.
Right.
He's not the first to anything. He has a father. David has a father, right? And it goes all the way back to Adam, brother. So the bloodline you speak about, if you really want to say something, according to a bloodline, it would be Adamic, if that's how you want to name it, whatever name you want to call it, but it'd be Adam's bloodline. It wouldn't be no Solomonic bloodline. It wouldn't be no Davidic bloodline. It wouldn't be no Yeshua bloodline. It don't work like that.
No. That's a fallacy argument.
Yeah, before you go in, brother, I understand what you say. He said that what he represent come in the picture with Solomon, right? And Solomon is a part of all the older cultures, right? The older bloodlines. So he's just giving a representation from Solomon because of Sheba, right? So that's what he's saying. We understand
No. Listen, man. Let me respond, please, man. Right? The problem is this mother thing, right? See, he's taking that and he's drawing it all the way back to Adam. I mean, Salakia, all the way back to Abraham, right? So now he's going back, and now he's trying to make you see some sort of connection with Keturah. He's trying to make you see some sort of connection, and he's calling. Let me make this extremely clear to you, brother. And I don't know if King Seth brought this out in this debate because I was in and out. But Jethro's daughter and Jethro himself, the Midianite, are not Ethiopian. And she's not the Ethiopian wife that Miriam was upset about. You do understand that, right?
Go ahead, Zara, because I got something to say on that. But
Incorrect. Incorrect. Okay. It is well known that Midian is another term for Ethiopian people, the people that live within the region that we today consider Ethiopia.
Prove it.
The Midianite. Okay. Hold on. First and foremost, when Moses, it was Zipporah, specifically that Aaron and his sister spoke against.
Prove it.
All right.
hey, why he say that? Why he trying to prove it, right? Why he trying to prove it? I'm saying.
So what he's basically what he's trying to assert, because we're talking about Midian being also a Cushitic nation. So now what he's asserting is that Moses just was down with the sisters. So he had two Ethiopian, he had two Cushitic, two Hamite wives.
See, Jeremiah, you gotta understand, Jeremiah. You gotta understand the position, though, Jeremiah.
Yourself, because then both of his children still come from a Hamitic line, from a Hamitic woman.
Hold on, Craig, man. I can't hear. It's just confusion, man. I'm trying to really hear. Okay. What I'm saying is, first of all, Keturah is not Hamitic. Her children are not Hamitic.
Stop. How can you prove that?
Because Numbers chapter 1 say you are what your father is. Okay?
All right. Well, so
hold on, let me finish. Let me finish.
Buddy, I'm about to smack you, bro.
Let me finish. When you look at the children of Jacob, Jacob's children married married other nation Egyptian women. But those children are the children of Israel. They're not the children of Egypt. There's no confusion in their lineage because these sons married Egyptian women. There's no confusion. These children are the children of Israel. Jacob walked into Egypt with 70 souls, his sons and his sons' wives and their children. These people that came in, the 70 souls, were Israelites. They were not Egyptian, even though the sons married Egyptian women. There was no confusion in the scriptures in Exodus chapter 1 that tells you and I that these people are the children of Israel. There's no confusion there. So why are you bringing forth confusion with Keturah and Jethro and his daughter? Why are you bringing confusion in when those people, the father of the man that Keturah married was Abraham? That means that those children are not confused. They're not Hamitic children. You can't call them Hamitic children. You are what your father is, even today in 2020, because once your father gives his last name to his wife, the children have the last name of the father. This is not confusion at all.
Can you ready for me?
Yeah.
All right. So listen, here's the problem with your argument. First and foremost, understand that the 6 children of Keturah did not claim anything from Abraham.
Oh my God.
They did not claim anything from Abraham. They were not considered a part of the promise. Okay? So
neither was Ishmael.
Why is that? Wait, hold on, brother. Can I finish what I'm saying, brother?
Neither was Ishmael.
Can I finish what I'm saying, my brother? What are the reasons why I say this? That I say that the Ethiopian woman, that Keturah is an Ethiopian woman, and you state that it's because of their fathers that everyone goes by their fathers. Well, I'm gonna show you that this goes by the mother.
Oh my God! Come on, man! I
Her
heard this
children are named after the children of Ham. She is
That
a
is
Hamite.
ridiculous. That don't mean a damn thing. What does that mean?
She named her children after her children.
That doesn't mean nothing. What does that mean?
Midian,
That means that their father don't matter.
Stop cutting me
Their
off.
father don't matter because she decided to name her children.
Y'all get in right quick. You got 1 minute, brother.
All right, so smack it up. And Jokshan beget Sheba and Dedan. This is chapter 3, right? Of Abraham's other family. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare Zimram. Jokshan, Medan, Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua, and Jokshan beget Sheba and Dedan. Now let's go back to Genesis chapter 10. All right. The church say amen. And sons of Sheba and Havilah, Saptan Rachman, and Sapchak, and the sons of Rachman, Sheba and Dedan. Okay, so and I believe Jokshan is also within this text. So we're seeing that her children have a specific name that goes not back to the father of Abraham, the children of Abraham, but goes back to her father, Ham. Cut it out, brother.
God damn. Can I respond?
Names. So now let's listen.
Can I respond, sir? He gave you 1 minute, man. Let me respond to that. I don't want you to leave from that point. All right. So let's get this straight, family. Everybody that is listening, please listen good. Okay. So now the family, the man, a woman marries a man by the name of Johnson. Johnson is actually his last name, right? His last name is Johnson. This woman has a brother that is named Frank. Okay. Now this woman who married this man named Johnson, they have a child, and it's a boy, and they decide to name that boy after this woman's brother, whose name is Frank. Now this man's name is now Frank Johnson. That doesn't, just because she named her, and I don't even agree with that, what he's talking about, but let's just say for the sake of argument that's true. Okay, so she starts to name children after people from the lineage of the Cushites, right? So let's just go with that narrative. So now this woman has a child. The child is a boy. She decides to name the child after her brother, whose name is Frank. Does that change? Does now that child become of the lineage of Frank? Is that child now the lineage of her brother? That don't make no goddamn sense, brother. That is ridiculous and absurd, brother. Okay?
You're proving my point. You're proving my point.
How?
And let me show you why. Why are you proving my point? Because the claim is that the Ethiopian Amharic bloodline comes from who? Who does it come from?
I don't know. I don't even know what you just said. Say it again.
The Ethiopian Amharic bloodline, the Solomonic dynasty. That's what they call it, the Solomonic.
I don't know nothing about the Solomonic.
Listen.
I don't know nothing about that.
So here's the thing. What you're arguing a point that's actually substantiating Haile Selassie's claim that he is a child of King Solomon, the root of Jesse and David, of Adam and Eve, and all the patriarchs. That he comes from the bloodline of the kings of Judah. Why? Because his great-great-great-great-great-great-granny slept with King Solomon. So who's his daddy? Who's his daddy?
Yeah, but you don't have no proof.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't have no.
So he is King Solomon baby.
Okay, can I respond? Can I respond to that, please, sir? All right, let's make this clear. You just put your damn foot in your damn mouth. That whole idea about Keturah, you finished. Now I want you to publicly renounce what you said about Keturah based upon what you're trying to do.
I will not.
Solomon.
Only because, and let me tell you why. Because this is not something that I made up. This is something that I studied years ago from theological class, theological studies. When it comes to the names of characters in the Bible. Let me explain it. In theological studies, they talked about the names of the Bible and the names of people, and that they would not name themselves other than to name themselves. So, yeah, if she was to decide to name her son Frank after her dad and the last name Johnson after the father, yes, the father's name is his surname, but Frank is still in there. Frank is still 26 chromosomes in there. So when we're getting to science, here's the deal. When we're getting to the science of this thing, when we're getting to the DNA, which is not spoken of in the scriptures, we're dealing with science now. How do we prove that these people came from who they came from or who they claim to come from without DNA evidence? Without the history of the haplogroups and their connections. We also have to look at the claims of the scriptures that all have Ethiopia through it. You want to keep on getting mad about Keturah, but the fact of the matter is that Keturah would have never named her children after no Hamite if she was a Shemite woman. Nor would Abraham have allowed it unless, and this is one of the things, there was contention. If you read the scripture, there was contention between Abraham and Keturah. They didn't really get along very well, according to the scriptures. One of the reasons why the children, all 6 of her children, really didn't give 2 shits about Abraham when he died. They were not there when he died.
Oh my God!
They did not
they didn't give 2 shits about their own father. They didn't give 2 shits about their own father. This is ridiculous. They didn't care about
him, bro. Okay, so she basically alienated children. She was a bitter baby mama, and Abraham was the first deadbeat dad. What does that have to do with the price of a can of beans in Bolivia?
Can I respond to that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right, let me make this clear, man. I mean, God damn, boy, this is crazy, bro. I'm gonna tell y'all why my response is the way that it is. I think the brother Zion is a brilliant brother. I think the brother is very articulate. You understand? And the brother is well versed in arguments and argument tactics. Understand this, okay? I want to make this clear. He is flawed when it comes to biblical understanding and interpretation. Why? Because first of all, there is a narrative in which you have to follow when you're dealing with the Bible. You cannot insert your own ideas and make the Bible what you want to make it, that is being irresponsible and intellectually dishonest with the scriptures. Okay? Let's make this clear. Abraham married Keturah. Abraham didn't just get no damn baby mama. All right? He married Keturah. Okay? They had a marriage. So he didn't just go sleep with somebody and then he just vanished and now the children are over here and they just don't care about Abraham. That is ridiculous and absurd. Okay? And as far as this name thing, let's understand this. When you go back into the genealogy of man, which you can find this in the King James 1611 Bible, there's a list of names. You have the names going down from the Most High, going to Adam. You got one going over to Seth and the other going over to Cain. And if you look at the names over there in dealing with Cain, and you look at the names that are dealing with Seth, what are you going to find? You're going to find similar names. You're going to find similar names. But does this make these people intertwine into each other's tribe because they have similar names? Hell no. Your person don't enter into another person's tribal lineage because they have a similar name. That doesn't make people similar because of names. That is a ridiculous argument. Oh, these two, you got Moses, and then you got Moses. They're the same person. You understand? You cannot do that with linguistics. The characteristics of a person, two people having similar names, because guess what? There's more than one Jesus in the Bible. Okay? So are we saying, so since there's more than one Jesus, so every time you see Jesus, that means that's the son of Mary that did all these miracles and walked and did things in the land of Jerusalem and got confronted by Pontius Pilate. Does that mean that they're the same because they have a similar name? Hell no. The places that they're born, the circumstances of their existence is accredited to their identity. Okay? So now, just because people have similar names doesn't mean they are from the same tribe. Or this person has fathers from the tribe of Benjamin, but he has a name similar to the people that are from Moab, so therefore they're the same. No, that is ridiculous and absurd. Go ahead,
where do you see anybody with the name in Israel with the Moabite name? You show me one.
What are you talking about, man? I just gave an example.
You just made a contention, and I'm asking you, I'm questioning you on
brother, that was an example that I was giving you.
Hold on,
you want me to hold on?
See anyone from Moab, from
they don't have nothing to do with what we're talking about, bro. Stay on the topic. They don't have nothing to do with what we're talking about.
I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you something through the lack of evidence.
Oh my God, man! I just gave you an example. That's it.
That example
I didn't make a claim.
That example is the hole in your foot right now.
Hey, Yashar, you see this, man? Am I the only one that's with yo, Joshua? Are you there, bro? Am I the only one that's seeing this?
The example is the hole in your foot because you cannot show me not one Israelite Moabite name, bro. You cannot.
How does an example become a hole in somebody?
Okay, so now let's get back to that thing that you talked about, the Jesus thing, right? Here you go. One of the things you got to know is that during the time of Yeshua HaMashiach, Yeshua ben Joseph, whatever you want to call him,
and on track, on topic, man. It seemed like you have a real issue with just focusing.
No, because they're giving me compound questions, so I have to answer each question one at a time.
Listen, brother. You're not doing that. What you're doing is you're creating a whole other argument.
He created the argument because he brought it up. I'm addressing his point. I'm addressing his point.
Now you're talking about Moab.
I'm specifically addressing
that's not a point.
All the points he created.
A point is not an example, Zion. A point is not an example, Zion. When you give me an example of something, Zion, you haven't made your point, Zion. You just gave me an example of something, Zion. Of whatever it is that you're trying to get across, Zion.
Listen.
That's of what. So at the end of the day, he didn't give you anything. The only thing he did was give an example. Can we give an example? He only gave you an example, Zion. That's all he did.
Example.
Yeah, can we get an example on Solomon? I don't like all this Johnson talk, and I don't like this going back to Abraham talk. Let's go back to Solomon, man.
All right. So
we don't skip subject. This is about Solomon.
All right. So they don't want to talk about the examples that he gave. I wanted to return.
I just don't want to go too far.
But
I don't want to go too far.
Moving forward. Okay. Let's understand that there is quite a history, even going to the Temple of Solomon. Whether you believe his name to be Solomon or not, there was a king. At the time, there was a dynasty of rulers in Jerusalem and Judea. Okay? This is historically proven. We know this to be true. We know that the practices of the Judaic people, the Israelites that lived at that time, were there prior to the Septuagint and to the Greeks. So we're not going to sit here and try to place all the blame and say that, oh, the Greeks made this up. I know a lot of so-called heretics and Egyptian sympathizers are going to want to try to devalue the entire Judaic bloodline, but we're not going to do that. Okay? Because the history is there. The history is there. The history goes even back to 1st century BC. It goes back prior to and to the time of Jesus Christ in the scrolls of Qumran, which are also called the Dead Sea Scrolls. This discusses the bloodline of Solomon. It has scriptures of Ecclesiastes, of Proverbs, which is attributed to King Solomon. We have a temple of King Solomon. We have a tradition of the Ark of Covenant.
I think you're being intellectual dishonest right now.
So no. I'm not being intellectually dishonest. What I'm doing is establishing.
Let me go on and say why I'm saying that, right?
Okay.
Because you go into all these other places, right? That we ain't trying to go. We talking about Solomon.
Right.
Like Solomon got an outside woman.
I didn't bring up the Moabite thing. Why am I bringing these things up? Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you the whole entire history that
I mean, I don't think you can do that in this short amount of time, bro. It's got to be. You got to why this is Solomon only.
Watch. This is how I'm gonna prove what I'm saying. My grandmother is Native American. I'm gonna give you an example since you gave me an example.
Everybody go about Native American, but go
My
ahead.
grandmother's Native American. She comes from Shinnecock Indian tribe. She has her papers. All of my first cousins got their papers.
Yeah, we all say that.
Go in and out of so they are claimed Shinnecock Indian of Long Island, New York. Now, how did they do that? They had to do that through the mitochondrial DNA, through the mothers. They had to do that in order to prove that they had some genealogy. Now, do they have fathers of different genealogies? Yeah, there's some white folk in there. There's some mixed black people in there from the Caribbean. There's some mixed other tribes of Native American. There are multiple different racial haplotypes that have mixed in with the people. However, due to a specific way that they decide who is and who is not of a specific tribe, of this tribe, that is what they go by.
And it's the
same thing biblically. It's the same thing biblically.
Yeah,
so what I'm trying to establish
you being intellectual dishonest, right?
Well, I'm not being intellectually dishonest. What I'm trying to do is show you
ain't nobody got no consensus on who can keep that back in them ties, right? Because New York was very early in this so-called American history, but you can go ahead. But I'm just trying to keep on Solomon. Like that's what I'm doing.
I'm not being intellectually dishonest by trying to paint a larger tapestry for you to understand that this has.
I don't need that larger. I need specifics. I don't need generalization right now.
Specifics is that there is a tradition, that there is a history, a family lineage that goes way back, even further than Solomon, that as a practice amongst the Hebrew Israelites in marriage
I know that. That's the part I do know, though.
Hey, can I ask you a question, bro? Can I ask you a question?
Because you said that Sheba hooked up with Solomon, so this is what I'm saying.
Wait, first
I'm not talking about
who was Solomon's mother?
I don't care about Adam right now.
What was King Solomon's mother's name?
I know you tell me. I don't know.
Bathsheba.
Hey, let me ask a question.
Why is that important?
So okay, Bathsheba,
Why is that important? Why is that important?
That name is in the Middle East. How do y'all hook her up with Candace, though?
All right. So again, understand that there was trade going on. There was also stated that at that time, even prior to King Solomon and the Queen Candace story, that he was receiving a certain amount of talents per year that made him one of the richest men in that region. That region is still in the same area. These are the people who they're trading with? Ethiopians, Southern Arabians, Canaanites, Phoenicians, Egyptians, who the brother
all the
wants to
people
call
can't be the
Sudanese.
same,
All
though,
these
bro.
people are
All the people are not the
interacting
same,
with
bro.
each
You
other
can't make
throughout
a
these
blanket
time
statement
periods.
all the people
This
are
is
the
not
same,
rocket
right?
science. It's
On
not rocket
ethnicity
science.
and culture, bro.
I got
Hey,
a
You
I
question.
can't
like
make
to
Hey,
that
say
Ratchet
blanket
something.
Craig,
statement on ethnicity.
can I
That'll
jump
take
in
away
real
from
quick?
the Hebrew
I would like to
Israelites.
say something.
Can I jump in real quick, Ratchet Craig?
Can I
Go
can
ahead.
I say something real quick?
I mean, y'all are arguing against your own
Hey, hold on,
legitimacy.
everybody,
I
hold
don't
up a second.
understand. Like, this
Can I say
legitimizes
something real quick?
Israelites.
Hold on, brother. Hold up. I'll let you go right after
Hold
me.
on, man. You all good. You all good. I'm rolling with you,
Well,
though.
you done had the floor a lot. I didn't get to say anything just yet.
So what, brother? I can have the floor a lot because it's my floor. Okay,
I
so
get
let me
your
say what I need
floor.
to say, brother.
I get it's your floor, but let's be, fair. That's all.
Okay, well, brother, listen. Hold
Hey,
up,
you'll go
brother.
out to him, my brother. You'll go out to him. You'll go out to him.
All right, so listen, Zion. Solomon
You
comes
go
from
after that, you saw.
Solomon comes from the line of Judah, correct? Right? Okay,
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
How is the tribe and the lineage of Judah identified and established?
Through the genealogy of the fathers, from the sons and the lines of Jesse, the root of Jesse to the seed of Solomon, to all of his children, those families.
No. You're going
Saul
forward.
comes from Jesse too.
I thought it was
Saul
off the
comes from
oldest
Jesse
son
too.
first.
Hold up.
Saul is
Craig.
also a son of Jesse, right?
Hold up, Zion. You're going forward. I need you to go backwards, okay? I'm asking you.
How far are we going back? I'm going
We're
to
going
Jesse.
back to Judah, brother. We're going back to Judah.
Judah being okay. One of the 12
Hey, Ratchet
children,
Craig,
right?
hold up a
One of the
second,
12
brother. I'm
children.
gonna let you come in, but it's muddy in the water right now. I'm gonna let you come in. I'm gonna yield after this. Judah is established through how, bro? How is Judah? How do now people can say they are descendants of Judah, which is what Solomon claims, which is a fact. His father claims, King David claims to be from Judah. So how are they getting that when they have Egyptian mothers?
He was not the oldest son. They were the oldest son.
I thought we already established that, though. It was through the father's genealogy. That the fact that it wasn't Egyptian mother solely. It was, because the only one that I really know of that have an Egyptian wife besides Hagar, who's a concubine, was Joseph. But other than that, other than Joseph,
no,
Ethiopian wife, an Ethiopian wife.
Judah himself had Hamitic wives. I'm asking you, the fact that Judah had a Hamitic wife, right? Why is the lineage named after him and not his wife?
Because he's the father.
Okay, so when did that change, brother?
No, I'm not saying it changed. I'm saying that it further establishes. Understand this. When you go to Ethiopia, even now, there are lion images. The Lion of Judah is a symbol of the Ethiopian national state of Amhar and Harar and Aksum. It is the symbol of their whole nationalism. As a nation,
you're missing it, Zion. You're missing it.
So I don't know what
because
you're saying.
You were saying, let me just explain it. Let me just explain it. I'm gonna give it right to you.
This is the thing. You cannot address something you don't understand, bro. You was about to go into a whole spiel on something you don't understand that Jeremiah just said. You can't do that, bro.
Brother.
You don't understand. This is what I'm saying, Zion. I want you to hear me. I want you to hear me, Zion. Listen. When you're if you're standing on the fact that Haile Selassie is substantiated based upon his connection to Judah, right? Its connection to Solomon,
Yes.
which is a descendant of Judah.
Yes.
How do you then turn around and say Keturah is a Hamite and her children is Hamitic when they had Abraham as their father, bro?
Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. When I talked about Keturah's children, they have the names of their Hamitic fathers. It's just a fact that you can look up in their mother's fathers. You can look it up in Genesis 10. This is undeniable. I don't care what nobody says.
Nobody's arguing it, brother. Nobody's arguing.
Let me finish what I'm saying. You cannot deny that. That's just in the scriptures. Regardless of them being the sons of Abraham, for some reason, the scriptures name them after their Hamitic forefathers. But this is one of the reasons why. One of the reasons why is it's showing you that there is a blood lineage that goes into Ethiopia, that goes into the Cushitic Empire. Why is this important? Because in the scriptures, it states that Ethiopia would stretch forth their hands, Egypt would stretch forth their hands unto God, and Ethiopia, princes and princesses shall come out of Egypt, and Ethiopia would stretch forth their hands unto God. The Ethiopians were considered the people of God at one point. Egyptians are also called the children of God in another scripture. These are people who have fallen from grace and followed other gods and lost contact with the Father, and in some way, shape, form, or fashion, through the blood lineages, God is redeeming his people. God is redeeming his people unto him. That is what the story really represents. That's what it represents.
I thought I was supposed to be there.
All right, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go. I'm not asking. I'm gonna let you go. I'm not asking a question. I'm gonna let whoever's next go. I'm gonna let you go. Okay. All right. So listen. Wait. Listen. The man just said that Haile Selassie is substantiated based upon the lineage of Solomon, who is a Judite. Then he says that is substantiated by the patrilineal lineage. Then he goes to Keturah and says Keturah children are not Abrahamic children. They are Hamitic children. They don't make no goddamn sense.
No.
They don't make no sense.
No.
You're changing the... Wait, bro, let me finish, bro. Bro, let me finish. You're changing the lineage. Bro, that is exactly what you just said.
That is not what I'm saying.
Let him say what he's saying right quick, so we're gonna do it, baby.
Did you say didn't you say that Keturah's children are Hamitic?
I said that Keturah is Hamitic. I'm showing you a culture, a practice.
I'm asking you about.
Let me finish what I'm saying. I'm showing you a continuous practice, a pattern of behavior. I'm showing you a pattern of behavior.
I yield the floor, man. I yield the floor, man. I yield.
All right. Do I finally get to say what I'm going to say?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Hold on, man.
All right,
this shit, bro. Listen, man. I don't know what your fucking problem is, Zion, man.
No, you shot. Don't do that, you shot.
Man, I'm going there, bro. I'm going there. I'm tired of that shit, man.
No. That's necessary right now. Don't do that.
Calm your britches, homeboy. Calm your britches, man. Listen. Calm down, brother. We don't have to get in the ad hoc.
We don't got to get in the ad hoc, brother.
We don't got to do that. We grown adults in here, right? We adults in here, right?
I like how he did that.
Are we adults?
Talk about what you like.
All right, so please act like an adult.
Brother, come on now. Now,
please act like an adult.
I was supposed to have the floor now.
You go out the door, though.
Not even respecting the panel to even fucking listen to a brother that actually fucking established this whole motherfucking panel.
Brother, come on.
He over talking Listen, man.
Yeah, okay, that happened though. We
Listen,
blame
man.
people,
Listen,
bro.
man.
That
Listen,
happened.
bro.
Come
Stop
on,
fucking cutting me off, bro.
you sure?
I'm
Let's
gonna
go
keep it real.
in, then
I'm
you
gonna
can
keep
go
it real
in after
perfect with
that.
you, right?
I promise you
I'm
can
gonna
get
keep it
in
real
after
perfect
that.
with you right now, Ratchet. Stop cutting me off, man. I don't fucking cut you off when you going.
No,
Don't cut me off.
I'm just
All
saying
right,
we
Brother,
had
come
a
all
we
on.
right.
had
I'm
an order
gonna
already
deal with
preset.
this shit in
We
the
had an order
admin group.
preset
I'm gonna
though.
deal with
Come
this shit in the
on,
admin group, Ratchet. Since you wanna fucking cut me off live, that's what's up, bro. I deal with this shit in the
No,
admin
I'm
group,
not
man.
cutting you off live. I'm gonna let you go in next after here. You gonna save that, please, for the show. All right, we ain't in the
Yeah.
bed chat. We
All
ain't in
right.
the bed chat, bro. Let it go. Let go.
Ratchet Craig, hold on. You can't tell the brother who created the platform when he gonna go
Man,
in
this
next,
ain't
bro.
even about that. What is
Bro,
y'all
what I'm
tripping about
saying,
that?
bro, this the brother created the shit. Shut the fuck up, bro.
And
Let the brother
it's
create the
not
platform
about
talk.
that. It's not about no hierarchy right now. It's about order.
Okay, I'm gonna mute my
It's
mic.
about
I'm gonna mute
order.
my
I'm
mic.
trying to get some order in here. Y'all making it about something else, bro. I
Right.
just want to hear this brother been patiently waiting.
Yes.
He been patiently waiting. Let him go in, then I'm gonna let you shot go and you go next. After that,
All right.
Jihad. God damn.
All I
Hey,
want to
thank
say.
you. Hold on. Thank you for being a moderator and a co-host, and you give permission who go next. Thank you, brother. I'm gonna mute my mic. I'm sorry.
Thank you, brother. Zion, you have been wonderful to listen to. I appreciate your tenacity, and you've endured a lot. It's almost 3 hours now that you've been on. I'd like to see you again. I hope that they'll bring you into the league because I've enjoyed. It's like you've been jumped into here. It's like this was a gang thing, and you've been jumped.
Yeah, right. He been jumped in.
Right.
He official.
So yeah. So I will definitely enjoy seeing you again. You've held your own, and not that we have to all agree on everything because the people of our people never agree on everything, but if we can just agree on the key points, that's all that's important. Okay, we're brothers. We have to start respecting each other and not de-evolve down to bad language. That's not even necessary. And I've watched it. I've watched your mannerisms the whole time, and you have been on point. You have not once said any swear words. You have kept it professional and 100, and I appreciate that. And that's what I keep trying to explain to this league. If you all are really gonna get other people involved, even real scholars, to come over into this platform, you have to conduct yourself more professionally and better. You can't just be spouting out cuss words.
I agree. I have a problem when I get mad. I have a problem with it. I agree.
Now for this league to grow, and I hope it can grow, but we have to show some decorum and respect. When this man lost, this was the first man I see that lost that was respectful. He didn't lose his mind. Judges said, and he was, he took the L like a champ.
Yeah, I agree on Devils. Amen.
Now that's all I basically really got to say. And like I said, for this league to really grow and to be seen and as a respectable league.
Yeah, I agree. Let me back that up right quick. We have a bunch of sore losers and sore winners. We have sore winners too. Like they rub it in your face and try to get you to lead this league, right? And that,
I never heard of a sore winner.
It's a sore winner. Like people who like try to bash you afterwards. Like, yeah, nigga, you ain't shit. Your mama ain't shit. Your dad ain't shit, right? You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I just beat you. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That's why I said about sore losers. I mean, sore winners, right? Yeah, that too.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you are wanting to attract like real scholars, people who debate, y'all gonna have to clean this up better. Okay, that's just point blank it. This is gonna have to be cleaned up better.
You know what? I'm sorry. Let me say this. That remind me of when NWA first came out. Even with Zero and them, they selling tapes out their trunk. You know, they got a parental buy sticker. You know what I'm saying? When you try to go mainstream, you know what I'm saying? And when you just, I'm not saying keeping it real is keeping it gangster, church or nothing like that, man. But, you know, they said the same thing about NWA and Ice-T and Ice Cube. I mean, you're right, you know. But it's a market and it's a time and a place for all that, too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a time and a place for the hype and the contention.
But at the same time, you can't say that the word still wouldn't be reached by somebody putting passion in the language that they use. You know, because you're not supposed to judge. Because I heard Farrakhan say if a messenger come to you and his skin look like soot, his hair look like raisins, and he got the word from your Lord in his mouth, then you listen to him. Whether his hair look like soot and his skin look like soot and his hair look like raisins, and he have the word from your God in his mouth, man, you listen to him. You know, so I'm not worried about all the cussing and stuff, but you're right though, but you know, we're not trying to gain fame and fortune and popularity and all that. You know, we're just trying to get the point across, just the source, man.
Right, but see,
I understand what you're saying. Let me mute my mic. I'm getting long with it. Let me mute my mic though. You know, I want to do the closing and the outro and it's just like and subscribe. I'm gonna mute my mic telling you. But yeah, you're right though.
But the whole thing of this is what I see is that you're trying to grow scholarship. You're trying to build people. You can't devolve into cussing and slinging words. You know, we can look at all the other old scholars like Dr. Ben and Clark and even Malcolm. You didn't see them when they was debating. They was professional. They didn't devolve into cussing and yelling and over talking people. And you know, this is what I'm saying. If you want to reach or you want this thing to grow, we got to clean it up. We got to clean it up. You know, I see the potential. So it'll be nice to see Yeshua go toe to toe with some scholar at Cornell or NYU.
Okay, let me say this. Let me say this. It's not about quantity, it's about quality.
Right.
It's not about the quantity of followers, about the quality. You keep talking about like blowing up and going worldwide and getting more followers, bro. It's not about the quantity of followers, it's about the quality. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what I'm talking
about. You're saying too, bro, but we're about quality. We're not about quantity. We're not trying to do popularity contests over here, bro. We're trying to get the information out, regardless of how. We ain't trying to win no popularity contest, bro.
But all I'm saying is that you want a particular scholars to come in and be able to sit down and have a discourse where we all can learn. Like I said, I love to see Yeshua go against somebody from NYU or Brooklyn College, but would they really take this platform serious if we don't clean up the stuff?
What makes you think that they authority or something? Just because they're in the school?
It's not an authority thing.
So then what is your point about having them come over here and them judging our platform as if they the end all be all to say what's good and what's not?
Brother, I'm not saying that.
So then what are you saying? What are you saying?
Right. 10 toes down, tanks on the ground, nigga. 10 toes down, tanks on the ground.
I'm asking a simple question. What you saying?
Well, I'm trying to wait till the other brother finish speaking here. Okay. All I'm saying is for us to be taken seriously. We need to.
By who? Taken seriously by who?
By anybody.
People in our community that actually listen.
Even by people in our community.
That pay attention to what we talking about.
Even by people that pay attention to what we talking about, brother.
So then what? So those that pay attention to what we talk about understand what we bring to the table. So what are you talking about, man?
What I'm talking about is sometimes I can't even watch it because the language just goes a little too far. Okay.
Okay.
Let me finish. The attitudes, the cussing, the you know, they can't take the loss. No, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say, what I'm saying is we're supposed to, like I said, y'all keep saying we're supposed to be building, we're supposed to be sharing, but I'm seeing I'm not seeing that.
You're not
That's all
seeing
I'm
what?
saying.
You speaking about what you specifically? You talking about my interaction tonight, correct?
No, I'm talking about previous nights as well. I'm not just talking about tonight. Now, like I said, this gentleman here, Zion, he's been one of your best performers I've seen thus far. Even though everybody was cussing and he was still mild-mannered, he wasn't shook. And I appreciate that.
So you feel like because a person cuss, raise their voice, they shook?
Brother, there's a
simple question, man. I'm not asking for all of that, bro.
But no, all I'm saying is, brother, there's a certain decorum that we always should adhere to.
Right.
Now,
if I'm talking like you talking right now and I cut you off, that's cool?
No, it's not cool. Because
right. So if I'm talking in this proper tone and my voice never rise, I never use a cuss word, and I'm talking proper, but yet and still I'm hearing brothers talk, but I'm still talking in my proper tone and my proper everything. Am I showing decorum?
I would say you're showing decorum, yes.
Are you fucking kidding me, kid? But see, this is my problem. This is my problem. Because that's some bullshit, bro. I just made look. So the reason that he's got decorum is because of his fucking tone.
No, how you carry
yourself. Bro, because you cut me off regardless whether you're doing it loudly or whether you're doing it calmly. It's still bullshit disrespect, bro. Period.
You carry yourself
whether you cussing me out loudly with a mean face or you cussing me out very calmly with a real
passive aggression
face, you're still cussing me out. What's the fuck, bro?
Hey, Yashar, that fool trying to win a popularity contest, bro. We ain't about that.
Bro, I need to understand because he's saying a whole lot of shit about our platform, and ain't nobody saying nothing to this man.
Does well, and I would like to see other real scholars get on here and really debate with.
Okay, what's a real scholar? What's a real scholar? What you call a real scholar?
Somebody with real.
What's a real scholar? We got a real scholar. A real scholar. A real scholar. A real scholar.
What credentials? What, a college fucking degree?
Right.
Fuck out of here, my nigga. I got 2 college degrees. What the fuck does that mean?
Technically, I'm a real scholar because I'm in college right now, and I just got peer review.
I'm on vacation
this week. So I got my first peer review portfolio project. So I'm kind of a scholar.
Created this platform.
I'm an academic scholar.
I don't have fun to be playing no silly ass games, man. What you really talking about? Real? What you really talking about, man?
A real scholar.
What's the real scholar, man? What?
I'm gonna tell you. Hold on, Shaw.
What qualifies a real scholar outside of somebody going to a fucking higher education, a dumbed down system that gives you bullshit information and will pass you if you accept their lies?
Hold on. Let me say this.
Hold on. This is the dumbed down system, man. I'm in college right now. This shit ain't no joke.
I went to college myself. I'm a graduate of Kansas State University, West Los Angeles Junior College. What the fuck does that mean, bro?
Brother, all I'm saying
is you got a degree. You got alphabet.
So fucking what? I don't give a fuck about their approval.
Why you got to go down in your cussing again? I'm not
what, man?
Hold up. Time out.
Can I interject real quick? Can I just make a quick interjection? And I'm just gonna say this, like,
Your show is talking. Shut up.
What are we talking about?
My bad.
That shit is decorum. It's cool. Don't real ain't saying a motherfucking thing about that. But when I started raising my tone, I started using words that he don't like. Now, you see, look. That bias shit, lose it, bro.
It's not biased, bro. How's it biased?
Lose it.
The scripture says a man who can't control his own tongue.
What you mean?